also brings up another good point, though. This is not a treatment that you could, a theory base that you could do with just anybody, right? Huh?
Only like the client to work with. Because I mean, if you had some, like court order or something like that, this would be
Or somebody that just don't want to share, somebody that's shy and just,
Because what you really seen him do in the video was that every pause he would reflect back what he just said in those 2 or 3 sentences, but he didn't say, "Tell me about this." He didn't have that leading question that often we have after like a summary or rephrase. He just kept it to that one simple task, and when he got done, the person would keep going. Other than maybe like the introduction of like, how can I help you kind of thing, and I just can't remember, but I don't think he asked him one question about, like for clarifying or going in deep.
well, what if you're doing the person-centered therapy and the person just, quits talking or just whatever? Can you, you'd have to ask a question and then to get them back, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that asking a question is a big no-no, as much as you don't want to get into
A lot of it.
Yeah, you don't want to be leading it. I mean, I think there's your key, is you want to make sure that the client is always leading the session.
I get from that, you don't really want to ask like a specific question, a broader question on the topic to keep the topic, but let them choose where they want to go with it.
So, I mean, in a sample like you said right there, you can still do the reflective thing, if a client, how long would a client have to be quiet before you felt the need to say something? How long could you just allow the client to be quiet and nothing being said? First,
That's the
15
first
minutes.
Is that how long?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. But if you know that client is kind of maybe stuck, right? That client is kind of like stuck, or maybe they're trying to sort something out, then maybe you could still do one of those empathetic responses saying, you're struggling with a lot of stuff. I can imagine the different emotions you must be going through. So you might, instead of asking a question, just kind of acknowledge where they are, that they're just maybe distressed or overwhelmed, depending on why they've become quiet. Maybe the topic was just an emotional topic, or, as I'm saying, it's a client, individual thing, depending on the client.
Yeah.
If they're upset, you're going to have to let them work through it. And if you get, stuck, you said they're quiet, but why were they quiet?
I don't know, in my mind I was thinking, they just didn't have nothing else to say about it. Believe it or not, I actually get like that every now and then.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing you got to, just like with all of these, the theory's got to match the client. You couldn't do person-centered, I don't think, effectively with just anybody. And I think that's why there's very few people that are based in only one type of treatment modality anymore. So the good part of that is we have a lot of tools in our toolbox, but the bad part of that is we're not a specialist in any specific theory. Right? All right, so when you all think about what you've read so far, what you've looked at so far, was there anything specific that stood out for you in this chapter?
I've been studying the history and all that. Actually, him ain't even really looked at the rest of it.
Was there anything about the history of how he came to be and how this theory came to be that you feel interested in?
I like the part, I didn't like it, but the part where, he grew up in a Christian household and he was always, really repressed and stuff, and then he went to theological school, and then after that is kind of where he kind of broke off and went into the mental health and stuff and decided, kind of broke away from
Found his way.
the religion and stuff, and then, I don't know, I feel like because he was so repressed as a child, is the reason he's so lenient with his clients. He wants them to find their way because he never got to do that as a child.
Maybe one of the reasons why non-judgment is such an important factor for him.
Yeah.
Heather, did you have anything you want to add?
With congruence, it's two different, it means two different things for the client and then the therapist. The therapist, you're supposed to be, real open and honest, but the client, that's what you're trying to get them to reach, is congruent.
Right.
So it's kind of.
So you're modeling it, right? You're modeling it.
Yeah.
So you're kind of almost saying it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
You're kind of giving them permission because you're modeling it, right?
Yeah.
Right. And like he was saying in the video, sometimes what ends up happening is, some people that aren't able to put a good label on their emotions, you might have to do that so that they learn how to do that. They might not know what that emotion truly is, or that they even are seeing it coming out. They might, like if somebody's talking about something and they use hand gestures, like, they might not realize how distressing that conversation is, but you're sitting there looking at it, so you can see that, they might not verbally identify, but that's where you can say something and they can see the congruence in what they're doing and how they're behaving and what they say, and identify those correct emotions.
Like if somebody's talking about something right in their life, like they start laughing, because they're trying to avoid. I know what you're saying, like they need to learn to be truthful and forward and exactly what they're saying and say. But is that kind of like incongruence? Is like if somebody's talking about a traumatic experience and they start laughing to avoid
Crying
or the severity of the issue they picked out.
It's similar in the sense that, that it doesn't match, but the incongruence you're talking about is like when they say that the affect and emotion, incongruent affect and mood. It's kind of like one of those documentation things. But, yeah, because it doesn't match. But, see, I think to me, that's where the complicated part of Rogerian would come in, because it's not confrontational. So do you call them out on that when you see, like, if somebody's laughing during a traumatic event, where a lot of your other theories would allow you to say, hey, did you realize, I think it's a little bit harder to do in a person-centered approach. Because how do you reflect that back? For example.
So you think that's funny?
That's not very empathetic.
I see that, you're laughing because of this traumatic event, but, you can say something like, do you think that that's an anxiety? I don't know. That's asking a question, though.
Exactly. You see my point?
Yeah.
There's a struggle there. This is something you've got to get good at to be able to do. I would assume it would be some kind of approach that the pain must be really deep, that you have to feel like you need to laugh when you're discussing it.
Yeah.
You kind of got to go in that, roundabout, right? So that's not confrontational anymore either. Yeah. But it is reflecting what's going on. It's just different. It's a mindset that is different. And a lot of us will have trouble. Like, I think a lot of people try to start off very person-centered, but it's like you get to a point where, hey, I've reflected enough. I don't know what to do now. We're going to have to go in another direction. We got to talk about what's going on. I got to confront, or we got to throw some techniques in there. So I do think that a lot of people struggle with being able to stay in person-centered from beginning to end.
Yeah, I think person-centered. I think, the aspect and the main, thing of it is great, but I don't think it's something. I think it'd be one of them theories that you combine with something else to make,
add something in.
Yeah, I have to add something in there.
That's what most of them are doing.
Well, I'm going to bomb this thing next week, trying to do this. Yeah, I will.
It was saying that in the book I read the other day, it was saying that person-centered is really defined nowadays. It's not totally like Carl Rogers intended it. But today they are combining multiple techniques together. That's the reason why I was asking you.
That motivational counseling,
Asking me what?
A while ago on that one statement, if it could be used, because it was, I had read that, so I didn't know what techniques are being.
As the clinician, you can
You can do
add and
whatever you
subtract
want.
whatever, you know, that works for that person. But if you're looking at it in a true Rogerian, then that changes things. But just like, if you've never watched them, and I know a lot of people have watched them in other classes, if you've never watched them and you want to see it in full force and play out from beginning to end, then you should watch the Gloria tapes, and you can get them on YouTube, and watch, you know, Rogers. There's 3 of them. It's the Gestalt. Is it Ackler? Who's the third one? Pearls is Gestalt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did it. Rogers did it, and there was a third one. Ellis. You're right. Albert Ellis did the same lady with the same issue, and you can really, because they're the ones that developed it, so you can really visually see the difference in the techniques and the aspects and the presentation of from challenging and very confrontational to very laid back, person-centered, and how they address it. So those are on YouTube, and they're like, what, in the 60s, 64, 69, they're really old.
What's it called, the Gloria tapes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like
She
watching.
got the beehive hair. I mean, it's
Yeah, she's, I mean, you can, it's real easily, you tell that it's dated, you know, but it was a real person, and they interviewed her and stuff afterwards, and I think that's probably my favorite part, is her giving feedback of how it felt to be a client in each one of them, and compare how she felt and how she feels about her issues, and
I think
if she chose, don't say who she chose, because some people haven't watched it, but if you're interested in doing that, you should just take some time, pull them up. I would say probably close to, I don't think, about 30, 45 minutes each. So you would have to have a good, probably 2 hours to watch them. Watch one at a time or something.
I don't know, that last class that we took with you, I don't know, I just kind of hung on to that. I don't think I could do that type of therapy, but it intrigues me. I mean, it really does.
I like a little Gestalt. I don't think that I could do a
Yeah.
full-blown pearls, but I like a little Gestalt. But watching him with Gloria's, I mean, because she really gets like, you don't like me, and she's real concerned about his opinion of her and stuff like that. So it's real interesting the way he mirrors her. Which you might end up watching it in the second part, because Gestalt is in your second class, second year's class. Okay, so we already talked about
Probably don't know how to put on a video. I'm sorry. My teeth really hurt my finger today. Is it really? Sorry.
Unconditional positive regard. What does that mean to you? Did you have the technique section?
I don't think so, no.
Well, now do one of you all assign yourself the technique section?
I had 1 and 2. You had 3 and 4.
I guess I have.
So it doesn't matter. I just didn't know if one of y'all had more information in there. When you think about unconditional positive regard, what does that mean to you?
No matter what the client has done, or no matter what you see, you treat them with the same level of respect and nicely. No matter, it doesn't matter.
If you think about your life, and when you think about being accepted just exactly how you are, not asking for any changes, just exactly how you are, you're okay, I accept you as you are at this moment. How many people in your true life do you give or get that from? That almost that statement is a contradiction, right? Because if you feel that way, then that says there's probably some underlying resentment there. So it's not real, right? Because you're not getting anything back, so there's some resentment there. So that kind of falsifies it. True. You're not asking for anything in return. True acceptance accepting. No matter what the conversation, where it goes, what is said, who that underlying person comes out to be, acceptance.
Accepting them without judging.
And that's my question. How many of us fully give that or get that?
In everyday life, you mean?
In our real lives. In our real world.
You can try, but it's hard, and very few able to achieve it.
So when you process it in that sense, though, if you can kind of click with that reality, then that should actually tell you how important that skill is for the client, because they're not getting it anywhere else either, right? Accurate empathy. We talked about empathy several times, and we did our first video where we said, you know, empathy was going to be one of those big skills. I think that even though those videos didn't actually go with this text, I do think that those videos did a good job of giving you like a quick summary of how important each, you know, technique is, and giving you a good visual. And I don't know about you all, but I like how it would tell you like what they were doing at the bottom, like what to watch for as you were listening. So, like he said, you know, Rogers didn't say, well, it's reflective listening, or it's called this or called that. You know, it was just empathy. He said it was, the client knew they were being understood. That was the bottom line. So when you put those things together, when you put those three key things together, congruence, unconditional positive regard, and empathy. Why does it make person-centered special? The relationship.
Because they actually feel like somebody understands them and supports them and is there for them.
They figure everything out on their own. They're not doing anything, but they're doing it for self.
Empowers them.
Well, like you said, they're not getting it in everyday life. They're getting it there. They're getting it there.
You know, it's kind of like going back to what we were talking about earlier. How did it feel to be allowed to have absolutely no filter, no matter what the topic was, no matter what the subject was? That was given to you. How would that feel? Would you even know what to do with it? You know, if we were like a TV show, we'd go around with the sensor, right? I mean, can you imagine what that would sound like in your head? You know? Be like a bad phone connection, right?
Get a taser like you didn't know battery.
One of those dog collars, like bark collars. So, what else did y'all notice, or what else did y'all feel like was good information when you were looking through? Your assigned chapter. Is there anything you can think of that kind of stood out? That you was just like, oh.
It's a slow process. It's not something you can rush. And I hate to say it, but our society is here now. I mean, they want quick fixes. I mean, so.
Do you think it would be incredibly hard for you to do this therapy?
100% all the time.
No, just to do it. Because you're quick to judge.
Yeah, I am. That's what I'm saying. It's hard.
But you said society. What about you?
Yeah, it would be for me too. I mean, that's the reason I'm saying. On my aspect, I was sitting and listening and being in the moment, at that moment all the time. Yeah, it would be hard for me. And I know my limitation. That's where I was leading it. I was like, yeah, I can see that.
Right. And it's good. It's good to have that self-awareness, because we need to know where we're going to struggle at. You gotta know where you're going to struggle at. If you pretend like you ain't going to struggle, you're in a lot of trouble.
I like to ask a lot of questions, so I know it's going to be, you know. I don't know, I just like to
Which
make
is,
sure.
as far as the skit goes, which is why you get to practice it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in each of the theories that we've had, I could see having issues with one of them, with personality or, you know. That's something I think myself I want to work on with, you know, and being a good therapist. Like you said, you gotta fix yourself before you can. Well, not fix yourself, but know what's going on.
Be
with you.
aware. You
Yeah.
have to be aware. So of the ones that, the only one that we have left is the feminist. So of the ones that we've done, which is today, which has been Adlerian, existential, and person-centered. What do you think? Do you think that you could pull out the differences as